Jamie Tuttle and Dave Lupinski are in from the Oneida Herkimer Solid Waste Authority. Guys, how are you today? Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
You too.
Yes, and just like Frank Vicera, the councilman, Dave, you are outgoing.
Yes, I have one more day of work.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's his last day.
Wow. How does that feel?
Great. Nearly 30
I'm heartbroken,
but nearly 30 years of working with the authority, and Confucius said, choose a job you love, and you never have to work a day in your life. I really feel like I've never worked a day, although Jamie says I've never worked a day in my life. I've enjoyed it, and I really loved working for the authority, and we've done a lot over the years.
All right. And you were with a Boilermaker. Are you going to continue that?
Yeah, nope. I'm retiring, slowing down. Yeah, I was waste disposal coordinator for the Boilermaker.
I know you were.
And talked to Jim, Cecitus, and Tim, and they're currently looking for somebody to take my spot there too.
Now, is this a voluntary retirement, Dave, or what?
Yes.
Voluntary.
Yep, voluntary. Yep, after 30 years.
Okay.
I think I'm just going to slow down and, and start doing some other things.
They tried to get me to do that at my last radio job, and I didn't want to take that, and so they fired me instead. So hopefully things work out better for you. Or actually, they worked out great for me because I landed this job here at WUTQ. Yeah. So what is next for you? What are you going to do?
Well, there's a lot of things that I want to do, around home. We have a large garden, yard. I love ice fishing, except this year. It's going to be a tough year for that. So fishing and hunting and stuff. So I think it's time just to step back and just do some things that I want to. Being busy all the time, now I'll be able to just relax and do some things you want to do.
Hopefully you'll start hunting. Maybe you can kill a deer as big as the ones I've gotten.
Now she's bragging again.
Yeah.
Are you a hunter, Jean?
Yes, I am.
Really?
Yes.
With bow or with gun?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
Would you come to my house? I have deer that love to eat my bushes.
Sure. Dave and I will come over. I'll take the day off. He'll have the day off.
Just
we'll
camp out in the backyard for about 20 minutes, and they'll come flying along.
Dave, what changes did you see over the years?
Well, yeah, there's been a lot of changes, have happened in solid waste over the time that I've been there. The most probably important thing was Oneida and Herkimer County. They passed solid waste management laws in 1987. That kind of set the framework for how we handle solid waste in Oneida and Herkimer counties. It required homeowners to separate their solid waste from their recyclables, businesses, industries, and even churches under law, and they were required to separate that material. And in doing so, the authority was formed in 1988, and we started addressing, the needs of Oneida and Herkimer County. And there was a landfill outside of Utica on Route 5S, and that was scheduled to close. So one of the first things the authority did was develop contracts to handle the waste for Oneida and Herkimer counties. And then in doing so, we set up some pilot programs for recycling. We did newspaper and glass. Those were the two easiest things you could do. You didn't need a massive facility to process that. So the haulers separated that at the curb. They brought it to us at our facility, and it was basically it was a garage. We dumped it on the ground. We broke it up with bobcats and loaders, loaded it in a dump truck, and sent the glass to Syracuse and sent the newspaper to another facility in Syracuse. So it was a real rude way. And what we saw is that the people, they wanted to recycle more. We had people said we want to recycle the plastic, we want to do the aluminum, the pizza box, everything. So in order to do that, we had to have a facility. So in 1991, the authority built a 200-ton per day dual stream recycling facility where containers and glass were on one side and paper, cardboard were on the other. It had to be kept separate that way. And that was a $10.5 million investment, and it worked real well. People loved it, and we kept on adding recycling. We have one of the longest recycling lists in the state as far as what people can do curbside. And so that went well for 20 years. And so in 2011, our equipment's getting old, and we processed over 700,000 tons of material at that facility. So we had to make some changes and decide what we want to do. The new technology out there is called single stream, where the homeowners can mix all their material in one container and the equipment does the sorting. So what we did, we gutted that complete building to the concrete floor and put $9.5 million worth of equipment, of single stream recycling equipment in there to sort the material. And the residents, everybody loved it. Mm-hmm. And since 1988, when we first started, we recycled nearly 1 million tons of material in Oneida and Herkimer counties. It came from the homes, businesses, industries. So the credit has to go back to the residents. All we did is just orchestrate it, and it's the people that participated, and they gave us the high quality material that we were able to recycle and pull that material out. Just to give you an example, if you ever pile newspaper in a pile and put it at the curb to be picked up in a pile, That pile, we recycled over 65 million pounds of newspaper, the residents, businesses in Oneida and Herkimer County. If you pile that paper, that pile would be 5,200 miles high. It would stretch from Utica to San Francisco and back to Utica again. Just the newspaper alone. And then we add on the plastic, the metal, and the cardboard, everything else that residents have done. And so it's nearly 1 million tons of material that we've been able to keep out of a landfill and be processed and made into new materials.
There's an interesting thing about that, too, that you didn't bring up, but there was a lawsuit that went all the way up to the highest court.
Exactly.
And there was a requirement that the haulers within the community use your facility, because what you do, which was the reason I think there's so much recycling in this area, is because there's a financial incentive. If you live in the city, you have to pay for the stuff that goes in the landfill with the blue bags. But the recycling is free. So you put whatever it is in your recycling container. You don't pay for that. So there's a huge financial incentive for people to recycle. But you had to get the money to cover the free recycling from the people who are picking up the garbage in the community. And there was an issue. These haulers wanted to take their solid waste and go somewhere else where they would pay a lower dumping fee.
Exactly.
And there was a case that went all the way up.
Yep,
and it was
an
sustained, and it's a leading case. Talk about that quickly. That's important.
We have an integrated system where the authority is not funded by any tax dollars at all. The only revenue we get is from the tipping fee from garbage, the dumping fee from people dumping their garbage at our facility, and also the sale of recyclables. And we have about a $29 million a year budget. And what happened, we charge one fee for everything. It includes, we have household hazardous waste collection. From April till October, you can bring your paints and chemicals to us at no charge, and we can properly dispose them recycling. It costs us $3.06 a gallon to recycle 1 gallon of paint. Now, if we didn't do that, a homeowner would take that paint, throw it over the bank, or got rid of it. By having these programs. So what it is, it's an integrated system where everything's in there. And there are some haulers that wanted to take their garbage to a landfill near Rochester and pay half the amount. We charge $66 a ton. They could dump it at that landfill at a lower mark. So the law that Herkimer and Oneida County passed in 1987 said that the county direct the waste to a facility designated by the county, and the county designated the authority as a disposal facility. So what happened? Our case went in. So in 1995, the case went up and down different courts, New York Supreme Court, and then finally, it was determined it was unconstitutional. So what we did is we went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court heard our case.
It's the U.S. Supreme Court.
The United States Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. And there is no appeal after this.
Right.
And it was like the dream team for the lawyers, like their Super Bowl game. They went and argued before the Supreme Court, and with a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court upheld Oneida County, Herkimer County laws requiring the source separation of garbage and delivery to a designated facility by the county, which was the authority. And that set precedents nationwide. We were getting calls from Georgia, even Hawaii, wanting to know how they could set up their local collection, their municipal collection program, so they could require the haulers to come with it. So we are known across the nation as the United Herkimer Solid Waste Authority for having set a precedence in how municipalities are supposed to handle their garbage, because at the end of the day, the authority and the counties are there. These private companies come in and go. They can move to another state, but we're going to be here at the end of the day. And that kind of, the Supreme Court said you have the responsibility. You should be able to control where the waste goes and how you recycle it. And the people have been very,
Well, what the court said is that they can require the haulers who are picking up the solid waste that doesn't get recycled to subsidize those recycling efforts. So they're saying all the garbage in the community goes to one location, and that way there's enough funds to cover the recycling, which you do for free, and to use that money to cover the cost of the entire disposal of all of the solid waste. And so it gives you the money from all the solid waste in the whole community, instead of dumping the recycling for free and then taking the paid solid waste to another community. That was so important, and that was a huge,
and
huge
those
legal
funds
precedent.
also help with all of our special programs, which Dave has spearheaded. Our special drop-off programs, from electronics, bulky rigid plastics, hardcover books. Those are all, those programs are thanks to Mr. Lupinski.
We're talking with Dave Lupinski, the retiring director of the Oneida Herkimer Solid Waste Authority, and the other voice you're hearing is Jamie Tuttle, as well as our guest host Mark Wolver. And Jamie, my big question now, since Dave is retiring, is there a bump up in promotions along the way for everyone else at the authority?
I have declined to take over Dave's position, and Emily Albright is going to be taking over, and she is awesome. I'm so excited to work with her. We've been working with her for the past few weeks, and she's got big shoes to fill, but she's definitely going to be great. So
and she is promoted from within or not? Or,
nope, she's brand new. Brand new.
What's her background?
Jumped right in and is soaking everything up.
Yeah. She's a graduate of Paul Smith, so she has an environmental science degree, and then she was the regional director for the Interstate Turkey Association. So she's got Second Amendment,
the Turkey Association.
Yep, and then also she worked at Remington Arms for 7 years as more or less their public information type person. She'd go to shows representing Remington Arms, so she has a good experience that she can work with the people of the two counties, and I think it's going to be flawless from me to Emily, and we hope to continue to make our program grow.
All right, now Jamie, our Christmas tree is already out on the curb. When will it get picked up?
Well, okay, that's a great question because it does vary from community to community. If you're taking your Christmas tree down, like I did last night, you can call your municipality to see what the specific dates are for pickup. If you do not have a curbside pickup where you live, bring them down to us at our Utica facility. It's free. Drop it off, and we will compost them. Just make sure all of your tinsel and ornaments, of course, are taken off.
What do you do with the compost at your facility? Do you sell it, give it away? What do you do with it?
We sell it. Yes.
You sell it?
Yeah, what we do is...
Can people in the community go buy it from
Yes,
you?
we have nearly $1 million worth of equipment. We have a tub grinder. We have a tub grinder that can take a tree 10 feet long, 24 inches diameter, and turn it into mulch. We have a windrow turner that actually turns the windrows. It's like a auger that straddles an 8 to 10 foot windrow. It's a long row of compost, and it aerates it, and so we can compost faster, and we make a high-quality material. And our compost is actually certified by the U.S. Composting Council. We have to test it quarterly, send it to an independent lab, and then they send the results to the U.S. Composting Council, and they certify us. And we sell at bulk. We sell about 9,000 yards of a compost a year, and also we bag it. We put it in 1.2 cubic foot bags that weigh about 40 pounds, and we sell them 3 bags for $5 or $2 a bag. This year we've sold about 11,000 bags. J.K. Lumber, Ace Hardware, and several of the local greenhouses buy it from us, and then they resell it to the residents. But the residents can come right to our facility when it's not snowing and pick up that material and use it. And all that revenue, Dave, goes back into keeping our tipping fees level. We have not raised the tipping fee in over 20 years. Matter of fact, we've lowered it. The past 2 years,
what is the tipping? What does that refer to? By the way,
that's $66 a ton that you pay to dump garbage.
Tipping. What is that term?
Dumping. Well, because trucks pull in and they tip their truck. It could be called a dumping fee.
Okay.
A disposal fee. But
that's what
we charge. That's what we charge all our facilities, and we actually lowered that. So our authority board is very financially conservative on how they spend money, and we're actually lowering our tipping fee and putting that money goes back, so it saves the city of Utica. It saves all the residents, businesses, and the amount they pay to dispose of. All the other costs in New York State are going up, but we're able to keep our fees level or even lower them, and that saves the residents, business, and also promotes recycling. The more they recycle, the less they have to pay to get rid of it.
Well, I'll say this: we use it all the time. By the way, my family, and it's a very easy facility to utilize, and you guys make it easy down there for us as well. It's right around the corner, as folks knew from our building here at Canal Park.
Now, do the haulers pay for recycling that when they have to bring that? So the recycling objects are free. So if a hauler brings in a load of all recycling, all recyclable products, I should say, they don't pay anything.
They don't pay, nor we don't pay them either. So it's a zero tipping fee for any recyclable material. And the only thing we charge a hauler for is for the dumping of their solid waste or garbage. And then that goes to our budget and pays for all the programs. And we have high school, we have school education, we have our household hazardous waste program. So we have a lot of programs that private landfills wouldn't do. They would just be worried about burying their garbage. Where here we have an integrated system, so we want to cover everything. We want to detoxify our waste stream. We want to recycle as much as possible, and then what's left, we send it to our landfill up in Ava, and we take about 1,000 tons a day of Oneida and Herkimer County garbage only, and we properly dispose of that at our landfill.
Great
Is
deal.
your landfill making methane? Are you selling the methane?
Yes, exactly.
You sell it?
Yep. We opened that landfill in 2006, and what that landfill, as we put garbage in there, we dig trenches in that landfill and put it perforated pipe, cover it with crushed stone, and that whole landfill's under a negative pressure. It's actually a vacuum sucking the gas from that, and that gas is being sucked now and fed into two 20-cylinder Caterpillar engines. Those engines are $1.2 million a piece, and those engines, at the end of the engine, is a turbine that's spinning, producing electricity. We're producing enough electricity for about 3,000 houses today from your garbage that's been collected only since 2006. So, and our plan is, as we get more and more garbage, we can add more and more engines and have up as many as 10 to 12,000 houses being supplied with the methane energy from the decomposing garbage.
All right, and Jamie, the biggest mistakes that people make this time of the year with all of the extra garbage, from Christmas wrapping to other types of packaging, what are the biggest mistakes that you see people making?
Some of the biggest mistakes are when you're taking down your Christmas tree lights and old, broken, unwanted Christmas lights. Those are getting tossed in the bin, along with the ribbon and tissue paper and styrofoam, all the plastic packaging from the boxes that you open. None of those things that I just listed should go in the recycling bin.
Okay.
They either end up contaminating our good recyclables, or they can completely jam up and cause problems with our sorting equipment. So Christmas lights, they're an electronic. They can be recycled, not at the curb.
Oh.
You can bring them down to us, or you can bring them to CNY Veterans Outreach. They take it as a donation, and they get paid to recycle it, so that the funds they get from recycling their Christmas lights is a donation.
All right, Dave, you mentioned right off the bat pizza boxes.
Pizza boxes, yep.
Yes.
Bring them down.
Take obviously eat all the pizzas in there. Take that little plastic wheel and the aluminum foil or the out of there. And yes, we can do, even though they're grease stained and might be cheese stuck to it, we still can do those.
All right, wrapping paper too. Christmas wrapping paper.
Yes, still for the next. We take it the 2 weeks following Christmas.
Why don't you take it year round?
That's a good question. We were actually just discussing this yesterday, but wrapping paper is a lot of times made from a lot of recycled content, and it's a really low-quality paper. You know when you rip a piece of paper, you can see the little fibers in the rip? As those fibers get recycled into new paper products, they get smaller, shorter, weaker. By the time you have things like wrapping paper, tissue paper, napkins, paper towels, those fibers are just too small, too weak to be recycled again. So wrapping paper is usually not accepted. But because of the huge volume that we get this time of year, the markets will accept wrapping paper and try to recover what they can from it. And that's due to the fact that it's such a high volume.
So it doesn't matter if there's paints involved with the wrapping paper or foils that are part of the...
It's got to be actual paper. So any of the foil wrapping paper or the plastic that you wrap a basket up in or something like that, that is trash.
What about aluminum foil? Just the aluminum foil tin foil that you cover.
Yep, ball it up. Ball it up.
Yep.
Jamie told us.
Yes.
Ball it up.
Ball it up, right?
Took the words right out of my mouth.
And that's sorted automatically at our facility by, it's called an eddy current, that actually repulses the aluminum and is sorted out that way. So we actually resort that, and we do probably 120 tons of just aluminum foil a year from the residents of Oneida, Herkimer County.
When you get bottles that are returnable, do you try to separate those and get the redemption fee? No.
Our conveyor is moving 530 feet a minute, 7 miles an hour, and there's optical sorters that read what's on there, and we can't slow it down enough to pull a deposit bottle off. So we recycle, like your water bottles and your aluminum cans. The aluminum goes for aluminum. The water bottles go as your PET plastic. And so we can't do that. And New York State gets a revenue. There's about $150 million unclaimed deposits annually that goes in the New York State General Fund. Our goal is to have them take that money out of the general fund, get it back to the communities to help support and increase our recycling programs across New York State.
Dave, you've got a lot of passion for your job. Sorry to see you go, but best of luck with the ice fishing and whatever else you're going to take on.
I'm smiling because it's actually cold.
Now, in your garden, are you going to put compost in there from your
I
table
use
waste?
a lot of compost, yes.
From your own house, right?
Both. I buy the authority compost, and then I compost my own material at home and put that on the garden. So it makes excellent material. And we have information on our website. Residents can do it at home, or they can buy the material from us.